We have a storm in the Southern Ocean. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us. A big system at least 2 or 3 times the size of Australia. Just think about that. But it's well south of us and is only brushing New Zealand. So the further south you are, the more likely you are to get some severe weather. The further north and northeast you are, the more likely you are to have maybe a fairly normal week at times with plenty of sunshine and dry spells in the mix. So let's kick off with the wind map, and at the moment, it's all about the warmth, subtropical warmth across both islands. It is about to clear away from the South Island as the system moves in. But for now, it is all coming out of the subtropical areas, and that's why the overnight lows last night and again tonight will be well above normal in the North Island and the very upper South Island. Some areas in the north and the east of the North Island will be around 19, 20 degrees as your overnight low tonight. So this is why we're talking about this big system. It's down here in the Southern Ocean. You can see how it goes all the way up and affects parts of Australia with that sinking air pressure. But the main centre itself, well south of New Zealand and Australia, but it's coming up and affecting Tasmania, and in the days ahead will really affect the South Island with plenty of rain on the west coast and those strong blustery winds. So we'll talk about the wind in a moment. Let's kick off with the rain. Most of it is falling on the west coast. Look at these rainfall totals. A little bit hard maybe to work it out, but the dark blue part in the middle here is at the very bottom of the scale, or the very top of the scale, depending on how you read it. 500 millimetres, half a metre of rain expected in just 3 days. That is a lot of rain. You've already had 250 millimetres or so in the last week, and there's more rain coming after this map for Friday, for Saturday, and for Sunday as well. So the West Coast is really, shouldering it for the rest of the country as far as rainfall is concerned, because once you get over to the eastern coastal parts of Canterbury, you're talking 2 to 5 millimetres. There will be some spillover though, as you can see in these darker colours, around the 45, 50 millimetre mark. That's in that zone. North Islanders, much drier for you. The rainfall total's nowhere near as big. There will be some rain coming in around the central areas here and also around Cook Strait, but otherwise a lot of areas in the yellow there, that is only about 5 to 10 millimetres. That's not a lot. So let's take a look at the wind. So we talk about this. Here is Tuesday's setup. So it's a very dramatic map, but let's try and make sense of it a bit. The centre of the low really has a couple of centres, but both of them well south of us. It's got an airflow that goes over Antarctica. It comes up and around over Tasmania. So they've got a colder day on the way coming for them on Tuesday as a result of this windy sou'wester. For New Zealand though, subtropical still for the very north, or at least brushing the very north. And then we've got these strong blustery winds covering much of the country, especially central areas. So here's a close-up of lunchtime Tuesday. This is the windiest day of the week. Severe gales are possible through the Southern Alps, central areas and eastern regions. So please keep up to date with the Met Service warnings to fine-tune if you're in those areas. The rain you can see is on the western side. Eastern areas aren't as wet, although it will spill over into Canterbury. And the eastern side of the North Island fairly dry to begin with, but then that front, it arrives. By Wednesday, we're back to subtropical winds brushing northern New Zealand. There's a little bit of rain there clearing away, and then the sun comes out. So eastern areas of the North Island and the South Island as well, you're mostly dry on Wednesday, with the rain once more back over on the west coast, coming into Southland and spilling over into parts of Otago and also the foothills of Canterbury too. By Thursday, there is some break in the rain on the western side. You can just see there's some dry spells coming back in again. But remember, the rainfall total between now and Thursday morning will be up to 500 millimetres around Franz Josef, maybe 250 millimetres around the hills of Westport. So that's a lot of rain coming, but it does start to dry out a bit on Thursday. We've still got a few showers around the north. The winds in the very north here are somewhat subtropical still, so still warm. And if you don't have subtropical winds, you've still got winds coming out of Australia and as a nor'wester. So once again, warm for you. Now we end the working week with not a real great deal of change. It's still subtropical coming in for the North Island. In fact, more of this subtropical flow perhaps spreading back down across the country. The low is weakening, but it's still in the same place. That means more rain piling back up onto the west coast on Friday, and it stays wet on Saturday as well. The low is still weakening quite a bit now as we heading towards the weekend. But as you can see, the theme for the eastern side, windy at times, mostly dry, mostly warmer than average, and subtropical winds on Saturday continue over the North Island. Our final map for Sunday shows the low finally breaking apart. So that's pretty much a full week that it's affecting our weather. The rain on the west coast, pretty much there for a full week. The rainfall totals are significant over on the western side. Eastern areas, drier, sunnier at times, but windier. So there's a lot going on. So keep up to date with your local 10-day forecast. Remember, Weather Watch has hourly forecasts, so you can see rain and wind every hour, 10 days out. And what that does is it gives you a good idea as to when the surges of rain and wind come and go. And also keep up to date with Met Service for the latest wind warnings, rain warnings, and marine warnings. There you go. There's all the details you need. We're back again on Tuesday with all the details you need for the next part of the rest of the week.